Have you ever played a game of Stellaris as inward perfectionist and you thought by yourself, you know, this whole not being able to do any political stuff is nice and all, but should be more to this. I can't do any diplomatic stuff. I can't do any treaties. I have one less envoy. Sure, my population is looking pretty happy, but people can still talk to me. I don't want that. No, that's just not very cash money of these other empires. So what do we do here? Well, good news, everybody. The 3.2 update is going to bring a new Civic, which of course is called Pompous Purist. And let's put it this way, nobody is going to be talking to you unless you want to. Yes, the 3.2 update is heading in our general direction, and it's looking pretty good. It's looking to come out in November. It's a slightly smaller patch than the LEM update from 3.1, but still, it is shaping up to be pretty nice. Starting off with, as I mentioned already, the Pompous Purist. Now, apparently, this was supposed to be added to humanoids back when 3.1 came out, but it just wasn't in time. So instead, it's going to be added in 3.2 to humanoids, and basically it does the following. It's all about diplomatic and also being slightly xenophobic. So for all of you who want to do all the fun stuff that is diplomacy, but also not being able to talk to anybody, that is pretty much what you're going to get. And as a society is so utterly convinced of their own superiority that any attempt at diplomacy not initiated by themselves will be ignored. They can only engage in diplomacy with other empires if they are the proposer. Therefore, the empire that has Pompous Purists can talk to other empires, but other empires cannot talk to them. In addition, they get a trust growth bonus of plus 30%, which means that the bonus envoys that they can get, the plus 2 in this particular case, can work extremely well in order to get a lot of friends out there that they may or may not be interested in, because plus 2 envoys is pretty darn good. Especially if you go in combination with, say, the diplomatic core, which gives you another plus 2 envoys and a diplomatic weight of plus 10, you will be looking extremely good right at the start of the game. Because getting 6 envoys at the start is incredibly powerful because of all the spy networks that you can build, the diplomatic power that you can do, and on top of that, being able to gather favors from other empires is incredibly helpful as well. Being friends with everybody means that everybody likes you, and it means that they were more inclined to vote on the things that you like. And if they don't, well, it doesn't really matter, because you have so many envoys to throw at the galactic community that it doesn't matter whether or not they want to. You are going to vote for them because of the absolutely insane diplomatic power that you will have. You'll need to be a little bit xenophobe for this, which is fine, which means you can get the joys of livestock, which, I don't know, we're going to be talking about livestock a little bit more in the very near future. I'm working on a little video there. But you cannot be fanatic purifiers, which makes perfect sense because they don't have a diplomacy inward perfectionism, which is a bit unfortunate because it would generate, it would go so well with the Pompous Purists, because, you know, they cannot have any diplomacy and they don't want anybody to talk to them, but they still can. And Pompous Purists would be so good. And you cannot be a scion as well, because that would just be ridiculous. Well, let's put it this way, for the Fallen Empire wouldn't be able to talk to you. So that's something you want to keep in the back of your head. There's a couple of things we need to talk about here, though, and I'm not entirely sure whether or not all of this stuff has been cleared up by the developers themselves, and that is the problem of being able to go to war with these types of empires. One would assume that you can still turn them into a tributary or a vassal or even a protectorate by just going to war with them, as long as you have the right war goals. You don't, other empires really don't get to have a choice in that, and the whole thing about not being able to have diplomacy within an empire should not stop you from, you know, crashing in the door, taking their space, etc. So that's something that is pretty exciting, and overall this is looking to be very, very strong in terms of the political side of things. I've recently been really starting to love the soft power approach within the game, and being able to wrangle the galactic community and being able to just tell people what to do, and if they don't want to be told what to do, make them illegal, as well as the menace, and everybody will just dogpile them. And that's a lot of fun. You can win the entire game without ever firing a single shot, which is pretty fun. Then something a little bit more minor, only 50% of users currently have the ability of getting the ship appearance like this in the Empire creation menu, where you can basically just go through every single ship design to see what they look like and how awesome they are, etc. The thing is that this will now be rolled out in the 2.2 to everybody. So everybody can enjoy the joys of the ship appearance indicator within the Empire building menu, so that you can look through every single ship that is available and have a good time with that. So that's nice, I guess. For those of you who don't have this yet, make sure you comment below with, I don't have this ASpec, what am I going to do with my life, etc. And something that's going to come in the direction for everybody in 3.2. But that's, again, not everything just yet. Finally, there's a couple of things in the 3.2 update that are also going to change, and that is polishing up the default anomalies in the game, such as the gigantic skeleton that usually would only really have one output on it, and now you can get other things as well. So instead of getting a gigantic skeleton and then a bunch of sign bonuses as well as experience on your leader, you're actually going to be able to have multiple paths actually happening there, so you can get different outcomes. Some of the outcomes that are listed here are, for instance, for crystal growth, the abandoned cargo pod, because who doesn't love the abandoned cargo pod? It actually has 2 additional choices there. And finally, there are some changes in terraforming and AI behavior when it comes to said terraforming as well. So the AI will now actually terraform planets without needing a gigantic amount of energy. Previously, due to the way the economic system worked, or especially the economic units, effectively the AI would never terraform worlds to make themselves suitable for them, which is of course not something that is particularly great, but instead we can do other things with that. In addition, also the terraforming candidate, we could always do some other stuff with it, and basically if you have terraforming on a candidate, you can get more housing or get more foundries, or basically get more districts in general, or just a raw lump sum amount of materials. So basically you can get additional infrastructure on a freshly terraformed world to get you started with that world, which is pretty nice. It's a nice little bonus, and I'm looking forward to see how that is going to change. Apparently the developers think that terraforming is something that is a fairly unexplored topic within Stellaris. I would disagree, but still, you know, it's nice to have. But yeah, 3.2 is coming in our general direction. We got a bunch of content. Once again, it's not going to be as big as the 3.1 LEM update, but still, there is a bunch of nice things coming in our direction, especially considering the Custodians want to push out an update every 3 months, and this is a part of that. And we're all looking forward to the patch notes to see what is going to be in that final 3.2 version. We're gonna go and wrap this thing up here. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for my patrons for being there for me in these trying times. And until next time, take good care of yourselves, and as always, each other.